So at this point in the retreat, after this meditation, we're just going to have silent sitting periods. So there'll be no more prompting or guiding. At this point, it should be coming clear that meditation is not something that you do. It's not an activity for the mind or the character. And neither is it something that you don't do. That same character doesn't have to suppress or shut down anything. So all this doing and non-doing is just happening on the level of the conditioned mind. But who are you that is aware of that mind? The one that is always aware, always present. So the best instruction I've ever heard in meditation comes from Dogen, the founder of Soto Zen, who said, just sit. Or you could say, just be. And of course, you already are. You already are that. When you recognize the awareness that is ever present, then the whirlpool of the mind will just naturally slow down and stop. So just allow that coming to stillness. And just abide as that one who is ever present in that stillness. So we'll take about an 8-minute break and then come back for group process. Okay, hi everyone. So, a couple logistical things before we get started. Um, so first, I mentioned this last night. So what we're experiencing during the dyads is that sometimes people just leave the Zoom meeting running and go away from their computers. And when that happens, your Zoom persona gets put into a dyad with someone, but there's no one in your box to interact with. So it presents a bit of a challenge. So if you can remember to log out of Zoom if you're going away from your computer during the dyad periods, that would be really helpful. Thank you. And the other thing is we have so many people at this retreat, and it would be great. I would like to hear from people that I haven't heard from so far. I'd love to give everyone a chance to interact. So if you've already asked a question, or some people have asked 2 or 3 questions, I would love it if you could give other people a chance today. It seems like there's a lot of hands up here, so that would be great. And yeah, so I think yeah, let's start with Sam. Hi, Sam. Yeah, oh, did he already? Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Oh, I'll ask you to unmute. Here we go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're muted again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great. Wow. You called on me first yesterday and I had a problem not being able to unmute. So I'm so happy. The gong or the sound that you hit before and after meditation is something I've been listening to for more than 30 years. I was taught in Suraj Shabd Yoga or Sant Mat to listen to the sound. It's something I hear continuously, and I cannot not hear it in meditation. So when I focus on the breath, I'm still hearing the sound. So, I need to either uh, do the breath and the sound in the background, or try to blend them together, or not listen to the breath at all. So,
So
what do you?
is there a sense that they're separate? Or have you ever had an experience where the breath is part of the sound?
Well, I didn't ever listen to the sound until you suggested it prior to this preparation. And I had a beautiful experiences, which is why you all, if you're looking at my background, it's the waves, because I really had a beautiful experience making the sound like the inner breath, the curdle of the wave, and the external, the outer breath would be the roll of the wave up the shoreline. It was just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really the first time I ever focused on the breath.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was given a mantra, but I said, they say you go back and forth between your mind listening to the mantra and listening to the sound if you can hear it. And not everyone can hear the sound, but now it's continuous for me. So I can't really avoid it
Mm-hmm.
in meditation. So
Yeah, so it sounds like there's still a choosing happening in the meditation, like you're choosing to kind of focus on the breath or choosing the sound. So what would happen if you let go of choosing entirely?
well, I tried to put them together. That seems to work, where you
Mhm.
know,
But that the try, I don't know exactly what you mean by trying to put them together, but if you when the mind drops away, that's the chooser, or the the doer of anything in meditation. So when that doing drops away and the doer drops away, then it's like the drop becomes the ocean. It's like you know, so you become that sound. Everything is that sound. It's all, you know, the one consciousness. So
Right. And that's, so the breath becomes
yeah.
part of that
Hmm.
sound.
Exactly. So yeah, so the more we get ourselves out of the way, the more there's no meditator here. There's just the, you know, the ocean, and which is presence. You know, it is.
So that, so then continue to listen to do the breath, or just drop the breath.
So yeah, just I would say don't choose. You know, because the choosing is in the mind. You know, so can you just be present with what is, because, you know, without choosing or without deciding not to choose is what, because that's, even deciding not to choose is actually a choice. You know, it's
Right.
actually the mind trying to
Right.
not choose. So
That's, yeah.
yeah, just being, you know, and eventually we, you know, if by just being, eventually we become the you know, the universal music universalis, or the, you know, music of the spheres. It's all this entire manifested universe. It's just happening. So
Beautiful. Thank you. The day before yesterday, I was having this, you know, I responded in diet. I am love. I felt it tingling throughout my whole body. And then after this, I wasn't able to ask the questions. I thought to myself, well, maybe I'm not supposed to ask the question because it might be confusing for others. And then I went through a whole question. You know, I'm overly analytical, and I got to let all that go. And,
mhm.
you know, thank you. It's not making the choice of one or the other. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
beautiful, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. Yeah, thank you. Mm. So I will go to Harachi. Hi there. I'll ask you to unmute.
Um,
Oh, she's disappeared from my. Oh, there she is. Hi there.
yes, I make it short. I I just want to thank you. I am on the path for decades, and this is the first time, and I'm really so grateful that I perceive how you bring things together, and I'm very touched by your offerings, your wisdom, the how broad you bring things together. And that makes total sense to me. And I want to make it short because I do not really have a question. It's just, I am so grateful to know, oh, it was not all in, I have no words.
Mm. Mm.
Thank you.
Mm.
I was
Thank you.
sticking here and there and everywhere. And these few days with this coming together with all of you is really a blessing for me. And that's all I want to say.
Mm.
Thank you
Beautiful.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Mm. Thank you. I'll go to John Terrell. Hi, John. Okay.
Sorry about that. Just took me a minute to get over there.
Oh, there we go. Hi there.
Yeah. Hi, how are you, Dan?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And I was doing the chat to Harashri with the woman that just spoke. And I was putting ditto for me. You are incredible. And what you put together here is phenomenal. And a tribute to what you've spent your life doing. And I want to welcome everybody to knowing you and what you've done. I've been a soundboard out there for that message, but I'm not as eloquent as Hareshim was. She's just beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I wanted to ask really relates to the meditation. I also have some questions about the diets, but I think I'll save that for a diet discussion. The interesting process for me in diets. But the meditations, I've had interesting reactions there. Some good, some not so good. When we started a couple days ago, with one of the hour and a half meditations, or 2 hour, whatever it was, I went very, very deep. And it was like a red top or something was put on the period of time that I was under in a deep way. And I had no thought. There was nothing there. It was just darkness, and there was no thought. And I came out of it with this kind of red top. I can't explain it. It just was a red top covering everything. And it opened up, and then later, just a little bit later, I had another episode of going really deep into the darkness, into the black, and the void, per se, and no thought, none. No thought came to me at all. And then the top went on. And so I came out of that meditation, being able to meditate the entire time and have nothing at all come up. But I went to meditate the next day or day after, and I could not even sit. My feet were on fire. My body was not willing to do anything. And I couldn't stay in meditation at all. And it's not that I was having lots of thoughts coming in. I just was in a vice almost. And then today, the last point of the meditation reactions is that I was very ready to go deep into the meditations, and I was going there. And it felt really good. And I'm meditating away, and all of a sudden, not so good. Back to the same stuff. So my legs are antsy, my feet are antsy. I gotta get up, I gotta walk around. So I'm meditating with my phone, listening to you when you were speaking, or just waiting to hear something. Walking around the house, meditating, going all over the place. And I've got little routes around the house now that I can do when I walk meditating. And I came back in to finish up the meditation, and we'd only been in meditation for 40 minutes. And I'm thinking it's like an hour and a half already. And so I started to meditate again with it, sitting down and being part of the group. And again, I couldn't, but I waited. It was only 4 minutes went by, and I still had 20 minutes to go. And go, this is ridiculous. And so I walked around, finally came back to north, settle, and comfortably get into place. My feet are burning a little bit, but the reality is I'm now out of the meditation and I feel good. Can you explain to me? Because the one thing that I remember, a day or two later, you were talking about it, I think in one of your talks, about having no thought. And it meant something, but I couldn't remember what it meant. So sorry for being so long.
Yeah. So yeah, what you're describing is actually pretty common in meditation, where we sometimes will come, well, the mind, one level of mind will become very quiet, and will come to an emptiness or a spaciousness or a void, where it seems like there's no thought. And then the next meditation, it's like a deeper level of mind will actually come to the surface. And I've experienced this many times at retreats where I'll be, in the zone, this peaceful place with no thought, and then I go to sit in the next sit, and then all hell breaks loose. It's like, almost like a schizophrenic level of mind comes to the surface, and or body sensations, and so when we clear a level of mind, sometimes that space that opens up allows these really deep levels of mind to become conscious, and what was maybe background chatter at one time or subtle sensation becomes very observable. So that's normal, and it's really it's not a bad thing. You mentioned, a good meditation versus bad meditation, and for me, a meditation isn't necessarily good just because there's no thought. Sometimes a good meditation can be when we're down in the weeds, doing this deep purification of these not very comfortable levels of mind. To me, that's where the real work is happening. If we can maintain equanimity and non-resistance in those levels of mind, even a little bit, it can start to rewire at a much deeper level.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Yeah, thank you. I'll go to James.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, James.
Hi. I have one comment and just a few brief questions. The comment is, I really thank you for putting this on. It would be very difficult for me to attend one of these live. And so having this opportunity is awesome. But it's not just that. The films, the people that you touch with your films, beautifully produced films, the recorded meditations, and all of the YouTube awakening videos, I think they're just astounding. And the patience you personally display and your ability to teach are both remarkable. And I honor you and your team for those things.
Thank you.
So the questions I have, the dyads in me seem to create the whirlpool of the mind. And I keep wondering if there was 3 or 4 minutes to meditate into quiet before the imperative was asked, I wonder if that would make a difference in there.
Yeah, so when the imperative is asked, you can take some time to really go within, just really, take time to just be, and really feel into that imperative, or just that intention to directly, realize your true nature. We can just sit for a while, and you don't have to respond right away. You can take some time for sure. Yeah, but that when you say the whirlpool of the mind, like, to me, the dyads, they're not really creating that whirlpool of the mind, but they're revealing it. They're showing what's already there. So we have this intention to to just be, essentially, and then all this stuff comes up to the surface, and we start to see it. So it's a good thing that you're seeing it. It's that whirlpool, like we want it to come up. We want all that material, everything that's in the unconscious, to come up, and we want to communicate it fully, so that it can be cleared. And that's how the process works. So it's not about, like, it'd be great if we could just go straight to awakening and just be in stillness and awaken. But typically we have to face all of that stuff, and it's a good thing that it's coming up.
Okay. And then just briefly, I wonder if you can expand on this juxtaposition between, don't look for anything and there's no doing, and on this side have this strong intention. I kind of hung on that. And then on a personal note, I just wonder, can you go into samadhi pretty much at will? Like when you're meditating with us, are you achieving that state of being? And that's all I have.
Okay. Yeah. So, sorry, what was the first part again? Yeah.
The first question is this juxtaposition between, don't look for anything, there's no doing. And then on the other side, you say, have this strong intention, to realize your true self.
Yeah. So the hair on fire idea of there's something. So to me, there is like a primordial force that is alive in all of us that somehow awaken it, like it comes to life before awakening happens. There's something that comes alive in us, and it guides us to these retreats, and it moves us on the path. And whatever that is, sometimes in the ancient traditions they call it Savitri. It's the rouser, the impeller that moves us on the path to awakening. So that force is there. It's like a primal force of this wanting deep in our being to achieve union, and then the mind, feels that or recognizes that, it sees that that's happening, and then it asks the question, how do I do it? How do I make that happen? And that's the problem. That's the delusion of the mind, that it wants to take ownership or control this unfolding. But it's much deeper than that. It's like an evolutionary force that if we just get that mind out of the way, then it's just happening. Yeah. And for the second question, so like for me, I know I'm not looking for who I am. I know who I am. So I'm not seeking anymore. But the states, within the mind body are changing all the time. So sometimes there can be a samadhi state if I'm doing a lot of meditation. Sometimes at night, the turiya will become present, but I'm not in that samadhi state all the time. That's for someone to be in a samadhi state all the time is the highest level of enlightenment, like a sahaja samadhi or a turiyatita is those are the big guys that have the religions named after them. So I'm not at that level, but I have enough experience with it that I can point others towards it. So
okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I'll go to David. Hi, David.
Hey, Dan. Thank you for having me and everything. What's been coming up today for me a lot is this kind of sense of wanting to abandon like all spirituality and abandon all spiritual ideas. I think this might go hand in hand with a mind that thinks it knows truth in a way. There's in a sense of feeling like all this is only seeking, and all this, why I'm here is only kicking up seeking, and that like it's all kind of trickery, and there's a sense of not wanting to fall for the trick type of thing. And
Awesome.
that I think is coming. I guess there's confusion in that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, on my path, I came to the same place exactly. I realized, I just had learned and studied so many things, and every technique, and eventually I came to a point where I still realized, like, I don't know anything about awakening. My character can't do it, and the spirituality, seeking of answers externally in books and teachers and all of that has to be dropped.
I think,
At a certain point, the mind has to be dropped. All of it.
and I think, yeah, I think there's some confusion in that, but then there's also just this sense of, like, in meditation, there is a sense of being presence, and almost knowing that I am presence, but then also this ping pong, this like almost instantaneous ping pong between being presence and then this contemplation of what is seen as realizations, and questioning and not knowing, and ultimately those realizations and those thinking is always directly ping-ponging me back to presence. And that is really what my meditations have become. It's really just this, like, and it could be very quick. It could be, I don't know, 50 times in a minute where you ping pong between, like, this presence and then almost like the pleasure of a sense of realizing something, and then that realization then pointing back again, the presence, and then there's just that kind of questioning of, like, why am I here? Why am I seeking? Why am I even sitting in a time-based way? In a sense, it's more like sitting until I'm not sitting, or walking until I'm walking, or even smoking a cigarette until I'm not smoking a cigarette. It's like that type of
Yeah,
being.
yeah.
There is still a lot of contemplation. There's still a lot of thinking, but it seems to be like like I'm an even mix of presence and thought.
That's great. And like that's a very common stage, that ping pong back and forth. And the mind, sometimes the mind is so tenacious. Like sometimes even though with the mind that it's become clear that the answers aren't on the level of the mind, it's so habituated to its pattern that it'll still seek, or it'll still move, and it can take a long time for that to fully drop. But it really, like, the only thing we really need to know with the mind is that it has this limitation when it comes to the truth. It just can't do it. So that it can take a while to sink in. And the interesting thing then is, once the mind really is giving up that struggle, we can awaken, whether the mind is dropped off or not. That's the interesting thing. Like, awareness is there all the time. So whether the mind is active or inactive, the awareness of who you truly are is always present. So eventually we want to just allow the mind to be exactly as it is, but knowing who we are, so that it will just align. Everything aligns then. There's not this division, there's not this ping pong happening when that, when we really see it's all the one mind, then it's not a problem. It's not a back and forth, like the real me over here and the false me over here. It's that, that again is the division of the mind. It's just another false activity of mind.
Okay, and I thank you. I think the last thing is really then, like, that just kind of that questioning of why I'm here and why I'm doing the practices and why I'm following the schedule and all those types of things. In that sense, you would recommend, obviously, just just keep going, just keep.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, I think it's absurd. The whole thing is a cosmic joke. Like when we awaken, we realize it's been, any doing, any structure and activity is all within the conditioned mind, but yet if we don't do it, then we will never create the conditions for awakening. So the sadhana is necessary until it's not, basically.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I'll go to Hasim.
Yeah.
Hi,
Can you
Hasim.
hear?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Hello, Dan. Thank you very much for this wonderful retreat and for your humility and gentle behavior. My question is about the self-inquiry. So during the breaks, when I ask the question, who is drinking the coffee, who is walking, it's like I'm being a witness to myself, and I'm looking to myself from a distance, like a second or third person. This brings a little bit alienation, being alien to myself. So do you think this is healthy? This is normal?
Mm. So the questioning, if you're so there's usually like two stages of self-inquiry. So there's the questioning, which can sort of take us. It's an entry point into it's going into the direction of the direct experience. But what we really want is the direct experience. So if I'm looking at a tree, and I'm asking the question, who's looking at the tree? So there's an interrupt in the usual pattern of the mind. We're breaking up the habit pattern of the mind, but we eventually want to let that questioning go and just directly experience the tree or directly experience the coffee. So when people go deeper with the self-inquiry, in self-inquiry world, we talk a lot about direct experiences. So people will start having direct experiences of everything, and it's sort of an unfiltered experience. It's like you're not. There's no thinking happening. There's no witness and witnessed. It's like that mind that is normally conceptualizing has sort of dropped away. So eventually we want to, even the inquiry itself, any technique or any doing that we're doing in the inquiry, we want to drop that eventually and just be with what's arising. So if you're drinking a coffee, like having the complete experience of a coffee, or I remember on my first self-inquiry intensive, being in that state and experiencing a shower, and it was like the first time I'd never experienced a shower, and there was no questioning, who's experiencing the shower. It's just direct, a direct experience of whatever is arising, but the questioning is, if the mind is really active, the questioning is a good stepping stone, but eventually we want to let it go.
Okay, I see, I understand. My other question is related with the self-inquiry. Before I used to practice the Korean Zen with the Quantum School, and they have the big question, what am I? When you breathe in, you ask, what am I? And when you breathe out, you say, don't know, which they call is equal to beginner's mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know if there is any difference between who am I and what am I?
Mm-hmm.
Because in one sense, I feel like when you say, who am I? And each time when you say breathe, when you breathe out, you say, don't know, it becomes like a mantra.
Yeah.
And it's like a progressive way. It's not a direct way.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a great question. So in the Charles Berner tradition, which is the technique that we're using. So once somebody has got who they are, then they progress on to what they are. But it's very important to get who you are before you go on to the what, because the what will take you into all of these, like we were talking about, direct experiences. So you can start to have direct experiences of everything. Because the truth is you are in the samadhi state, you realize you are everything. You can literally realize that yourself as the moon, or as a tree, or so the what will take you into all of the different direct experiences that are possible. But if we don't have the who already, if we haven't awoken to our true nature, we can start to chase those experiences. So it's better to get who first, because the who is liberation. Like who is recognizing your that Purusha, or that what is beyond all of this experience. And I did it backwards on my path. I actually I had a Savakalpa Samadhi experience first, and then I started chasing the experience. And I would have loved if I had come across a self-inquiry at that time in my life. It would have saved me a lot of useless toiling.
So as far as I understand, what am I is a little bit a deeper state?
No, I wouldn't say it's so. Who you are is not a state. Who you are is just the truth of who you are. Who you are never changes. It's just a flip of identification from the character to the true self, to the unlimited awareness. So that is the ultimate truth. That awareness is there. Even when the mind and body drop off, that awareness remains. So that is what remains in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, in Turiya. It's the highest realization. So that's what we want to go for, because that's liberation. Once you're absolutely, you're not bound by this life and death and body and mind. That's what we want to go for. And then the deepening of that, then after awakening, we want to open and have direct experience with life. So the what will take us into non-duality and a deeper union with life. So they both fit together. We don't want to just awaken, and then there's no development. I mean, the deepening and the increasingly non-dual quality of life is the what of life. Realizing ourselves as everything.
So the first step is who am I, not what am I.
Yeah, who is the first step? Yeah. We stay with the who at these retreats, and we even once you get it, if you get a glimpse or even a fairly substantial realization, it's good to just really sort of stabilize in that truth. It's the most important thing. And then the direct experiences will start to come just by living life after that.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'll go to Elena. Okay. Mm-hmm. She not able to unmute there.
Okay.
Oh, there she goes. Hi there.
Yes, hi, greetings, and thank you so much again for this opportunity. I'm so happy to be here. I'm having the difficulties, the challenges to meditate. What it means is, one of that challenge is when I try to follow your instructions, how to keep that structure and that process in the meditation, and when I let it B, the mind attacks me so often that I cannot relax and actually deep into that deeper level until I say, stop it. So I try to communicate with my mind and say, relax, everything is okay, you are loved and you are valuable, but I have something else. And who am truly I? And then the being comes, that pure conscious, the emptiness, that sphere I'm in. But it's not for jumping from one to another state very often.
Mhm.
So the first challenge is when I let it be the way it is, it doesn't let me relax and actually do the meditation work. When I work with my mind and in like union and communicate with that, telling everything is fine, it lets me do that, but for a short period of time. So, and the next challenge is, I'm not sure if this is the challenge, but yesterday in Dayats, the information came, and I have the strong background in different paths of spirituality. Like I'm very connected to the spirit world, to ancestors, to the higher realm or cosmos. And the information came that this is the unity, and I have to be the vessel of this energy and connecting from the ground and from the cosmos. And when I did this today in the meditation, it was so strong energy, like a shift, strong shift. And then the spiral around me of the energy. But I'm not sure this is the goal. I'm not sure if this is real expansion and I have to let it be, or it is trying the different version of me trying to redirect me, because I know I'm here for the reason and I feel better according to your story you told us today during the teaching. I was really sick during this 4 days. There is no pain. So it's for the reason, and I try to understand what I should do, how can I improve my meditation, which is very, very important. So I cannot relax, I cannot deep into that level, because either I do something wrong, or there should be some other tips that you can recommend me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'll maybe start with what you said earlier. So you said something about in your meditation, it's like the mind attacks you. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So the first thing I think is who is the you that the mind is attacking? Who is that you?
It's a pure consciousness. It's like a master of having the mind and physical body, and then energy, essence, or consciousness. This is how I feel.
Yeah. Okay. So, so pure consciousness is, it can't be attacked by the mind. It just is not of that realm. So what I would say, first off, is like the mind only goes to battle with itself. If there's any struggle going on, and this is exactly what I dealt with at the Zen Center. There was this struggle going on, and very similar to what you're describing. And the teacher would say to me, who's struggling? Who's struggling there? And I knew it was the mind, but but I couldn't drop the struggle. How do you drop the struggle? And so I was struggling. The little I was struggling to drop the struggle, and it was a paradox to the mind. And I realized at a certain point it was all mind. All of it was mind. The I that I thought was being attacked, and the attacker, all of it was happening on the level of mind. And awareness was just sitting back and watching the show, which I didn't realize at the time. but awareness was always there and had no part in all of it. So all of these experiences, whether you're you're in a struggle with the mind, or whether you're you described a kind of a column of light and energy, all of that, there's this whole continuum of experience there, and it can all unfold on the cushion, and there's nothing wrong with it. We want to allow everything to come that's going to come, but the practice is to not choose, just allow everything to come, and find out who is the knower of all of those experiences, who is the one who was present for all of those experiences and is here now in this moment. Who is that one? And when we do the inquiry, we directly realize that one, or intend to directly experience that awareness that is ever present. Does that make sense? Yeah,
it does. So I just realized that probably I have a little issue to understand what it be in this moment means.
mm-hmm.
What is this being in this moment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the mind literally can't understand that, the truth of who you are in this moment. The mind, it has to not know. It has to give up and fail, and then in that failure, what's left? Who remains? What is that awareness that remains?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And a little more like a following question. You explained, you told us your story. Thank you so much for sharing when you were sick, and then you realized you found the path, right? I went through so different paths, and I was sick for the 1.5 years. Now I feel better. But how did you realize that this is it? This is what you have to do? I'm very curious. Thank you so much. That would be all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just an inner feeling. I'm not sure. I feel like there's something that is or was alive and is alive, and it's a really good question. It's kind of mysterious. Something in me, rather than just going the Western medicine route and listening to doctors and all of that, something made me instead go to a Vipassana center, and I'm not sure. It was honestly, actually, the thing that I think actually really stirred something in me was I had a friend, close friend, who went to a Vipassana retreat and came back, and he was completely changed, and he was glowing, and there was something in that, and I could see the consciousness coming through him, and something in me kind of woke up, and I was like, whatever he just did, I have to do that, because I have to find out what that is. And so it stirred something. So I think maybe that was, one thing that got me onto that path.
Okay, so I found the Zen monastery center in because I'm in New York, Brooklyn, and I'm going to visit it soon. So thank you so much, all, and all the best.
Thank you. Yeah, all the best. Okay, I'll go to Wayne.
Hi, can you hear me, Dan?
Yes.
Okay, I want to ditto what everyone else has been saying about you and your films and videos. They're tremendous. I just discovered you a couple of months ago, and also discovered that your retreat center is in Ontario. I was really glad to learn that, because I'm in Ontario as well. So someday I'll get to maybe down to visit you there.
Great, awesome.
My question is on the meditation that I did this morning. Your abide in the stillness statement really got to me in terms of I was able to get into that state almost immediately, and it was a very well, it was very still. But after a few minutes, that state becomes somewhat boring, and I find, or I found that there was the mind was starting to come up with little comments, like, is this really it? Is this who I am? The stillness? Or is that little mind that's speaking right now, is that who I am? Like, it was like I was trying to decipher who I am, and neither one place was really I wasn't getting a solid answer from either place, either direction that I took there. And I know at one point I remembered, I think it was Ganji, who spoke of when she met Papaji telling her to stop. So I just said stop. And everything sort of went black, like, there was nothing there. But that was just instantaneous, and then it all started back where I was with the abide in the stillness and this little voice somewhere just asking questions, like, well, I was asking the question, who am I? And really never got an answer. But I just could you comment on that?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, what stands out for me is, yeah, you said you're looking in, different directions, but didn't get the answer, So the question is, who is that was looking in these directions? I talked a little bit about, the mechanism of the mind. The fifth skanda is that part of the mind that's like a camera. It looks here, it looks there. It's looking. It's like, where am I? And so we get these when we drop all that. We get sometimes these glimpses or moments where there's no activity, and in that stillness, in that space of presence, then that's where awareness can wake up to itself. If we intend to directly experience awareness without moving the mind, without looking here and there, in that emptiness or void, those spaces, it's the perfect fertile ground for that awakening or recognition to happen. So I would say, like, just keep going and watch, that mind that's looking here and there. We have to give that up at some point. That has to drop, and that mind has to learn, the one thing that it doesn't want to accept, and that's that it's completely useless in this endeavor.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll go to Marta. Hi, Marta.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep. Hi there.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi.
Hold on.
Oh, you're very, very quiet. Actually,
Loudspeaker.
yeah.
Is it better now?
Yeah, much better. Mhm.
Okay. Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Thank you for the beautiful gathering. This is the first time I'm taking part in online retreats, and I think it's really well organized. And my question is about intuition. Where would you put it on the pathless path, especially in the reference to not knowing? Because for me, intuition is a feeling of knowing, actually, but usually preceded by not knowing.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So sometimes we talk about different types of intuition, so sometimes we talk about, following our gut, and then there's sort of the mental intuition, of the mind, and then there's the following the heart. And to me, they're all connected. It's like there's an energy feeling that can guide us in our life. So for me, that is my way to navigate in life. When the energy is not flowing into the habitual patterns of the conditioned character, then there's that feeling of flow in life, that flow of energy, and that flow, there's a sense of ease in that flow. And it is an exploration. We don't know, in my life right now, even with the center, the meditation center here, there's a lot of just feeling out, which direction the energy is wanting to flow. And to me, that, those intuition centers in the body it's all connected to that energy. And it's just there is a knowing, and it's not always right, or sometimes it's like you think you're going this way, and then there's a redirect in that energy, and that's how energy moves. It doesn't ever seem to go from just A to B. It's always this sort of exploration that's unfolding. Yeah. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah, I can't even see your image anymore, but I'll assume that's good. Okay. So I'll go to Bodhi. Hi, Bodhi.
Here we go.
Hello. Oh, got muted again. There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Dan. I'm not going to thank you or anybody else because I'm still in the mode that all of this sucks. But anyway,
I like your honesty.
yeah. But I did laugh about it now, so evidently it's getting better. This happens to me a lot when I do these retreats, and so anyway, I just realized I have to just hate everything and go through the motions. So that's what I've been doing. And but anyway, I guess what I wanted to ask you was that, so or just comment, I think, because I sort of feel like I had a little flip this morning and it was kind of cool. And and one of the things I have really hated is the yoga nidra, because the last thing I needed was my sleep screwed up even more. So but anyway, so from the first night I've been these wild dreams, just wild dreams. And so last night was the same way. And I do exactly what you said. I kind of go to sleep and then I wake up and eat a snack because evidently I need some food to go through what I go through at night. And then so so anyway, that happened last night, but there's no images, for me to refer to from last night, but I absolutely felt like I'd been hit by a truck when I woke up this morning. And I was walking the dogs, and I was, I guzzled down some coffee and took the dogs for a walk. And let me tell you, I've been totally schizophrenic in my brain. I still am, evidently, but I've been like totally just discombobulated in my brain. And even the dogs have conspired against me. It's just crazy. But anyway, I was walking, and yesterday I had this experience in dyads, which has been the worst part of this for me, just so you know. So I'm in this dyad, and these 3 days I've just been like just going through the motions, just freaking like say something, because evidently people want me to say something. So anyway, but it's just I've so I had this experience where the person the other person threw out something that immediately I went from calm as a cucumber to raging, freaking pissed off. And I a fraction of a second. And so anyway, I've been conditioned because of my past, by therapists and all kinds of people, that that's a trauma response. And so I was like, how dare that person do that to me? That's crazy. And then, so anyway, sort of something happened right then. So I had this experience, and then the anger went, whew. It didn't go down like it usually does. Usually it's like, okay, I'm gonna stuff this because, killing someone is not socially acceptable. So I so I said, but it went up. It went up. It just went. And I was like, and the question that I felt was so rude was, who are you? And so when it went up, I just said, I don't know.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's what I said. Thank you. And then, so then this morning when I was walking, it brings me to this morning when I was walking, I was like, I can't condone that behavior because it triggered me, because, I have trauma, and you need to not trigger me and handle me with, fragile gloves or whatever. That's the way I was looking at it, is that this conditioning has made me fragile. And I don't want to be fragile. I'm strong. I'm super strong. I can handle anything. I don't need your freaking help. That's kind of the way I've been all my life. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm the total opposite of what I wanted to be, And so I was like, well, I can't condone it. And I can't be okay with it, or whatever the opposite of not condoning it is. I can't be okay with it either. And then I'm like, I take the middle path. the middle path is they're both. It's both or it's neither. You
Mhm.
know, it's neither. And
Yeah.
all this time I've been like, what's a choiceless path? That doesn't make any freaking sense.
Mhm.
And so, but all of a sudden it made sense. All of a sudden I was like, oh, okay. And the other thought was maybe this person just did what was on their path that they needed to do for them.
Mhm.
So there's just so much compassion there. And so I was like, yeah, cool. I'm done with that.
Mm. Amazing. So would you call that equanimity? Just being okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. And you said something about the energy that usually goes down went up, and that seems significant to me. So that's kind of what happens, with these samskaras and traumas. The more purification we do of the self structure, the energy will. It won't go into those contracted patterns. Sometimes we can actually just release it, and to me that seems significant. And I've had moments on my path where things that should normally trigger someone, actually it can actually be incredibly blissful, which is crazy sometimes. One thing, I don't know why it's coming up right now for me, but I remember the moment I found out that my mother died, and I remember feeling this energy in the body, and it was like this strong energy, but it went up, and it became bliss, which is crazy, but that's what can happen, with this process and this practice. It's like we become more permeable to life, and life, it just becomes an aliveness rather than this polarized contraction. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And, you know, I just don't want to be mad anymore. I just don't want to be
Mhm.
mad. I don't want to be a victim of that trauma,
Yeah.
screw that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Listening to you, it's interesting hearing you, because you started out, like it's like you're kind of mad at this process and everything, but then you're laughing as well. Like your energy is totally alive, So yeah, it's interesting. So, that character can be there, but that energy can be free as well. Yeah, that's
That's
beautiful.
cool. I'm
Yeah.
happy to know that pure consciousness has a humor too. That's cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
I'll go to Dana. Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, again, I don't want to repeat everything, but thank you for everything here in the space and everybody that's present. Kind of what has come up is when I first started with the meditation and we did like the audio and the visual, when things would go through, I could see the mind and I could hear it and see kind of in a lower area of my mind. As the meditation has progressed, it feels like some questions are coming up, and I'm not sure if they're completely from the mind, but it feels like there's awareness that has come in. I can feel like a vibration and a sense and a resonance, and I can hear it. And it seems like the questions are going up from a different part of the mind or the brain, and that I did receive an answer. The answer felt like truth, but I'm not sure if that's really the mind, just playing with me. It was not an expected question. The question just kind of came to the surface, and then an answer just kind of came down, and it felt like I was in an aware state, not fully in it, but it felt like the awareness was surrounding me.
Mm.
And so I'm, you know, it's kind of like the intuition, but I'm wondering if this is this truth? Can I trust this truth? Or
Mm. So when you say the awareness was surrounding me, you know, so was there a sense of that me being separate from awareness?
no, it felt like it felt like I was in it and a part of it, like it was all around.
Hmm.
Even the dog wanted something, and I felt like first I thought it was the character of the dog, and I thought, no, that's part of the awareness is
Hmm.
everything around.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah, there's all kinds of phenomena that unfolds in this process. So you know, for different people, you know, experiences and there can be something that, you know, like I'll be talking about this tomorrow in the teachings, where, you know, a part of the mind will drop away, and there can be you know, an opening, like a sense of consciousness and spaciousness. So so, you know, these are sort of levels of mind that can drop away, and we get these glimpses, and so, you know, so what we want to find, like the awareness, you know, in this moment. Do you have a sense that awareness is present here in this moment right now?
there's presence, but there's not complete awareness.
Mm-hmm.
There's, well, yes and no. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the mind is trying to engage and take over anything. It feels like I'm fully present.
Yeah, so that presence, you know, when we keep going with this practice, we just keep intending to directly experience that presence. So you know, by direct, it's, you know, there's you know, it's so close that it's closer than close, you know. So there's no sense of me, you know, being surrounded by awareness. You know, that may be an unfolding. There may be, you know, an experience of that. There sounds like there was an experience of that for you, and that can be part of the disentangling or the letting go of mind. All kinds of different experiences come, but what we are essentially is always here, and it's just directly you. So it not even, you know, not surrounding or you know, awareness doesn't have any quality, so it can't you know, there's no sense that there's a me and then there's awareness. It's like you directly experience that you are that. Yeah. So
Is there a frequency? Is there a frequency with it? I mean, do you start to, because it
Yeah.
seems like I'm getting to the awareness, like before my body felt so tight and the mind was so chaotic, and now that that's clearing, it feels almost like the space and the frequency is there. Is there a vibrational that comes with the awareness?
So for quite often, or for some people, there can be, when we start to awaken, there can be an energetic experience around that. So the phenomena around it is not the same as the awakening, and it's really important to distinguish the phenomena that is changing. You know, the phenomena is only an experience, so it's not permanent, and it's totally different for each person. So sometimes, yeah, there can be a vibration or energy or stuff happening, but the awareness, you know, that might not always happen as well. You know, sometimes we have multiple awakenings, you know, and the mind might search for that vibration or that energy, you know, thinking that has to be there. But awareness can be, you know, that flip into awakening can be incredibly subtle. There can be literally no phenomena with that flip as well. It can be completely quiet and still as well. So, but a lot of people, you know, when that flip happens, a lot of people do go through an energetic experience as well. So it, you know, it can be it can look like almost anything, experientially. Yeah, but the awareness is just awareness. You know, it's just that direct experience of pure awareness, and not the hallmark of an awakening is that there's a recognition that that is ever present. It's always been you. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. I'll
Yeah.
that's all for now. I have more,
Yeah.
but I know there's more people. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
that.
you. Thanks, Dana. Yeah. I'll go to Kent. Hi, Kent.
Oh, hi, Dan.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your dedication to the path and creating this course for all of us.
Thank you.
My question's kind of related to dyads a little bit. So a bit of history first. So a couple of years ago, I had, well, what I strongly consider to be an awakening experience, which sort of led me down this path. I was sort of just playing around with some I am mantras, and suddenly, pop, there's an experience. So anyway, I've kind of been chasing that, I suppose, since then. Well, not since then. At some point, I came along and realized that, yeah, that's not a good thing to do. But what I want to talk about is the dyad. So when I was doing that the other day, I started having, you know, similar sort of experience. Was going towards those experiences, but not achieving that experience, which has been the case pretty much since that first experience. I've other lesser things occur and whatnot. But yeah, it just seems to be that it came down so from the crown, had this sensation, and it felt like that was coming on, and then it sort of stopped halfway and just sat there for a little while. And I just remember what you said the other day about that you know your ego will allow that to a certain level, retreat to a certain level, and then stop. And that sort of triggered me then. So, okay, is that what's happening to me? Is that what's going on here? And so, yeah, I just wanted to get your input on that, if I could, please.
So, can you describe again, like just a little bit more about just the sort of subjective experience of what that was?
During the dyad or previous?
Or like that particular unfolding of you know, where the ego lets go just to a certain degree.
Okay, so during the dyad, yeah. So I felt similar sensations, you know, the sensation from the crown and a very, you know, like pressure inside the head, and you know, a lot of peace going on, and just, yeah, a lot of sensation from the third eye and just coming down from the crown, and sort of just almost half the head encompassed in that. Whereas previously I've had experiences, the whole body just goes and it'll land in a different place. So it sort of came down like it was coming on, and then just stopped and sat there for a while. And so it didn't continue on as I thought it might do.
So there was a sense that you wanted it to unfold fully? So there was like a kind of a preference around that?
I think there's always a preference when these things come along, but since that first experience, I think there was and that, definitely a preference, and
and that's a big one, you know, like for, you know, those kinds of experiences. Once we've had them, it's very, very challenging to truly just let go and be, you know, have no preference about one experience or another. It's the hardest thing, and the more beautiful the experience, you know, the more difficult it gets on the path. So all I can say really is, you know, equanimity is the way, and to, you know, just recognize the mind's preferences of trying to attain something. All of that energy is, you know, these energetic unfoldings, you know, these are, you know, the peak of that is a Savikalpa Samadhi experience, which is still a state. You know, it's the most beautiful human experience we can have, you know, and many variations of it. but ultimately it's still a state. So with any state or any energy or any kind of unfolding like that, we want to allow it to happen, like invite everything fully, have a complete experience of it, but without holding it, and without pushing anything away if it can be overwhelming as well. So we want to just completely allow it, and just recognize those mind preferences that are in play.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's tricky. That's the hardest one, because the thing that it's a paradox. It's always a paradox where it's like the mind that knows that can happen now. It's grasping or wanting it to happen is the very thing that is creating the contraction that makes it not unfold fully. So it's such a crazy situation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just work on that one then.
Yeah.
Well, don't work on it.
Yeah. Just allow the paradox to be as it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll do one more. I'll go to Kranthi.
Oh, Dan, how are you, sir?
Good.
Thank you so much for everything you do for us, and really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I'm.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I think there was just a little dropout there. Yeah.
Okay. So, I've written down a question here so that I don't waste a lot of time. So I'll just read it. So as you've described, I think it was today, the two types of samadhi, the savikalpa, which can be more temporary, where the thoughts still exist, but they do not really affect the practitioner as much. And the nirvikalpa is more like, you're merging with the self, where there is, like, you're in the deep sleep mode where nothing exists anymore, right? So if my understanding of these two is right, Ramana Maharshi had attained nirvikalpa. So I'm trying to in comparison to these both types of samadhis, I was trying to understand, why would anyone want to choose nirvikalpa as how Ramana Maharshi would have chosen it to achieve it? In a sense, it somehow feels like the end, but I've come to an understanding as I contemplate more on it that, for the ones that want to attain it, it's probably their ultimate goal. And for the people who still want to, experience the world and, who want to experience everything and still live in this world and coexist, savikalpa would be the ideal samadhi. Not that it's easy to achieve any of them, but does that even make sense? What am I talking about? I'm trying to understand what is that.
Yeah.
What is the essence of nirvikalpa when it is?
Yeah. So so maybe I'll reframe it a little bit. So like nirvikalpa is, the mind and body drop off, so there's no more mind and body, but yet there's this continuity of the primordial awareness. So when that happens, there's an absolute knowing of the truth that you're not this limited form is not you. There's an eternal or something beyond this world. It's what the Buddha talked about, gone far beyond. We can't say what that is. And there's a liberation in that, to directly experience that is to know that you're not born, you don't die, you know, it's liberation. So, you know, so in terms of suffering in life, you know, that, you know, there's still work after having an awakening like that. There's still this development process that goes on, but it's a huge turning point on the path. It's the most important turning point on the path. And then the deepening of that is to you know, continue the purification of the self structure, so that we come into these direct experiences of life, these merging experiences, and realizing ourself as everything, and that's the Savikalpa Samadhi. So so we can. It's better to know who you are and experience Savikalpa Samadhi rather than having those experiences beforehand, because they're so powerful that we'll start chasing them, and we you know, the conditioned self will spend years, you know, that seeker is always going for those experiences. So so it's not about one or the other, you know. The samadhi that Ramana Maharshi experienced is what they call sahaja samadhi, which is the permanent one samadhi state. So he you know, it's both, basically. He's experiencing both. He's realizing his true nature, but he's also in this state of union continuously. And that's, you know, this sahaja samadhi is the state of the great masters. And the realization in that is that it is just one samadhi. You know, it's realizing that you're everything and nothing simultaneously, you know. So there you fully experience life, but yet there's no attachment to it. You know, it's just allowing experience to come and go. So that makes sense.
I had a misconception of Nirvikalpa being the end of it, where someone would not come out, and you know, but I completely understand what you meant after now.
Yeah.
So finally, what I want to conclude by asking is, so with that, does it ultimately mean, like, so to simplify to keep to simple terms, does it mean that the daily meditations, we completely die to all of our thoughts, being, you know, our past or pictures or self-image, whatever it is, in our daily meditations, whatever we want to call it, and live every moment in your life like it's your first experience, meaning, like you've talked about the tree, the shower, you know, anything that we would experience. If you don't have a self structure or a conditioned self, you're experiencing every moment as it's your first, and you're looking at it, you know, be it food or an experience or anything. So in a sense, is that what we would try to achieve in simple terms, is to not have a conditioned self or a mind to anything, but to be able to feel the you know, experience the peak of everything by looking at it as new. Would that make sense?
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, in the Bible somewhere, you know, Jesus said, "I make everything new again," you know, and that's what he's talking about. It's there's an unfilteredness that, you know, when that conditioned self drops, you know, the whirlpool of the mind drops, then yeah, it's like a reducing valve, you know, that conditioning is like a filter or a reducing valve, and when that opens, then we open to direct experience, and it's not filtered through the past, you know, through past experiences. So the language structures and the perceptual apparatus that is all tied into language is it's still there. We don't lose it. We don't lose the ability to interact with the world, but it's there as a tool. It's just waiting to be used rather than in the foreground. It's in the background. So that's the difference.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thanks everyone. So we're back at 2 o'clock for yoga.